All right. All right. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Doug Freeman, and today we're going to kind of go through what to do when things like summertime parties, um, yeah, birthdays, events, weddings, basically anything that's out of your normal routine, weekends happen, right? And how to stay on track with your health goals, and specifically if you're trying to lose weight, how to stay on track with your weight loss goals. So let me share my screen here. So again, welcome. My name's Doug Freeman. I am an independent certified Optavia health coach. That's my dog, Callie. She's sitting right behind me. I don't think she'll join us on the Zoom, but that is what I look like. The reason I point out that I'm a certified Optavia health coach is that most of my training and my knowledge from weight loss and how it works and how to overcome things comes from that program. We have to take a certification course when we become an Optavia health coach. This is not about my program. Although, again, a lot of the information I'm going to share, I just want to be upfront with you and forthcoming that, yeah, that's where I've learned most of my information. I started my health journey. Well, I don't know when I started it. I started the Optavia health journey about 3 years ago. Since I got married and had kids, like a lot of people, I struggled with my weight. And it's because if you watched my last webinar, I dropped down on the priority scale, right? My kids and my wife and my family came first. I came last. So I stopped really going to the gym and exercising, less active, except when I was running around with the kids, and just not eating correctly. So about 3 years ago, I reached out to a friend of mine who was posting a lot of things on Facebook about this health program that he was doing. I was skeptical because I have tried, you name it. I've tried exercise equipment that basically is a coat rack down in my basement. Every time a new weight loss thing came out, I tried that. Supplements, I tried those. Pills to block my hunger pains, tried those, and nothing worked long term. And the reason is because you would do the diet, or I'd get to the exercise and start it, but I wasn't consistent with it. And then when I stopped doing the diet, well, the weight came back. Didn't happen overnight, but it came back. So what drew me to this program was that Keith was posting things about this is a long-term, and we're going to teach you long-term things to overcome once you get off the diet so you can to maintain your weight. So I did that 3 years ago. I am about 5 pounds within what I was at when I did the program. And a lot of that is muscle mass. My fat percentage, body fat percentage content really hasn't changed in the last 3 years. All right, so let's go over a couple things: motivation and willpower. And motivation is the reason why you want to do something. So if you talk to me about weight loss or wanting to get healthy or wanting to get fit, right? I'm going to ask you lots of questions of why, right? What's the reason behind you doing this? And the reason behind the questions is to get to your motivation. Your motivation has to be strong enough to overcome some of these obstacles, like weekends, summertime, parties, going out with girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, right? And if it's not, you're going to fall off track. And this is why most people, like I said before, fail with New Year's Eve, resolutions, is they just all of a sudden go, you know what? I blew it on the holidays. I'm going to get fit. And they start, and their motivation is not really solid. They just don't like the way they look or the way they feel or the activities that they can do, or the way their clothes fit, whatever the reason why is. So the first thing you need to start doing is you need to ask yourself why. And you need to be, I call it, because I was an elementary school teacher, I call it the annoying kindergarten. So if your reason why is I want to lose weight, that's not your reason. Why do you want to lose weight? Well, I want to fit into the jeans. Why do you want to fit in the jeans? Well, I want to fit in the jeans because I feel more comfortable and more confident with myself, and I don't want to go shopping for a bigger pair. Okay. Keep asking yourself why until you actually really hit the root cause of your motivation. Okay. The more that you can connect your motivation with an emotion, right? Lack of self-confidence, feeling sad, not being a good role model for your kids. If you can connect that, then you are more likely to overcome obstacles, because the obstacles are going to happen. Okay. Your routine's not always going to be the same. Things are going to happen. Life happens, and you're going to have to go, you know what? I need to stay on track because this is my motivation. If your motivation is just losing weight, you are probably not going to be successful. And like I said, when I talk to clients, that's the first thing that we dig into is why. Because when they start going, hey, I'm getting off track, I go back and go, well, is this still your reason, right? Is this your motivation? Is this more important than having a piece of cake? Okay. So willpower is actually an emotion, and emotions don't work long term. And in fact, psychologists have realized that willpower starts off really good in the mornings, kind of like your cell phone battery when it's fully charged. But then throughout the day, it depletes. And every time you use something that takes up willpower, your battery starts to go away. That's why most people make bad choices toward the end of the day. Okay. Sometimes alcoholic beverages have something to do with that, but again, willpower is the weakest at the end because you can't recharge until you go to sleep. So your willpower is not, and people say this all the time. Well, Doug, I can't lose weight because I don't have willpower. No, you should not rely on willpower long term. Yes, at the beginning, you're excited and your motivation and your willpower will kind of get you through a little bit. But again, that's why most people, January 17th is when most 89% of people quit their New Year's resolutions because they're done. They just don't have the plan and the routines to keep them going through. All right, let's talk about habits and routines. A habit is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that's hard to give up. There are good habits and there are bad habits. And about 40% of your daily routine is a habit. So you have a habit of when that alarm clock goes off, that's the cue. That starts a habit. Now, maybe your habit is to hit the snooze button a couple of times. That's a really bad habit. And I implore you to try to break that. You're not getting any kind of quality sleep. It takes about 90 minutes for a full cycle of REM to go through. So if you hit the snooze button for 9 or 10 minutes and you do it several times, you're basically just in a groggy state where you're not really doing anything for your body. So if that's one of your bad habits, break it. Set the alarm clock way far from the bed. I had to get one of those clocks that continually got brighter like the sun. And again, put it away from my bed so that I had to get up. And then once I was up, I was like, okay, it's time to start my routine. Go to the restroom, take a shower, brush my teeth, whatever your normal routine is. Habits can be good and bad, and you don't get rid of a habit. It's still ingrained. So if you have a bad habit like sleeping in and hitting the snooze button, that's always going to be there. You have to really, really work hard to break that habit and to install a new one. But on the weekends, if you hit the snooze button again, right, that habit comes back. So it's one of those things that you can swap good for bad or bad for good. Works both ways. But you really, really have to concentrate and work hard. There's different research on about how long habits take. Some people say 21 days. Most of the research that I've read, if it's a hard habit, okay, it'll take about 60 days. And the way habits work is that your brain has signals that it sends. So every time you do that habit, that signal and that pathway gets stronger. Okay. And the stronger that you can make it, the more it's just going to become a routine. So if you stack habits all together, it becomes a routine, a sequence of actions that you regularly follow. Your morning routine, when you fix, right, when you brush your teeth, comb your hair, put on your makeup, shave, whatever you need to do, that's your morning routine. Try something for me. Try to switch it up. Your brain is not going to like it, right? Because routines and habits are in place and your brain uses them because they don't use energy. Basically, it's autopilot. Okay. So if you start to break a habit or a routine, your brain is going to go, no, 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 wait, hold on, that's change. I like this routine. It keeps me, and I don't have to spend a lot of energy. Okay. So habits and routines are what is going to carry you long term. Okay. Again, willpower is only going to take you so far. Habits and routines, you need to get them set in so that you don't have to think about it. Okay. All right. Well, the problem is with summers and weekends and parties and events, the routine is not the routine. Okay. Monday through Friday, your routine is probably pretty normal. Probably wake up at the same time, right? Get ready, eat breakfast, drive the same way to work, right? Go to work, do you right? You probably take breaks almost at the same time, eat lunch at the same time. Again, that's your routine. The problem is that on weekends, the routine totally changes. And especially if you have kids, or if you're like me, a teacher, when summertime comes, it's the routine is chaos. So going back to your why, okay, when you are going to hit the weekend or hit summertime or go to a party or a wedding or whatever, girls' night out, boys' night out, whatever, I implore you to read your why. Okay. Your motivation for why to do this. Okay. I want you to tell people that you're working towards this goal and why it's really important to you. Okay. Lots of clients of mine go, well, I can't. Aunt Millie will get really, really mad at me if I don't, eat all of the food that she baked. Okay. Tell Aunt Millie when you start this, go, hey, Aunt Millie, this is what I am doing and this is why I'm doing it. Okay. Explain it to her. She should understand. Okay. Your friends should understand. Hey, why aren't you drinking? This is my goal. I'm not varying from it now, right? This is more important. Later on, I can add that stuff back in. Okay. So on these special occasions, you have to make a plan, create a mini routine. Hey, I'm going to go to the party, right? Um, we'll talk about this in a minute. Oh, I'm going to partake in one adult beverage. I'm going to have a thin slice of cake. Okay. Make the plan before so that you're not trying to create it on the fly when lots of things are going on and you're probably emotional and not thinking clearly. Okay. As I explained in my first webinar, right? Weight loss is calories in, calories out. Yes, a calorie is not a calorie. Big Mac calories are much, much different than vegetables, lean protein and fruit. Okay. So, but if you can kind of bank your calories during the day, then you might have a little more wiggle room when you go to the function at night. Okay. So what could be part of your plan? Again, decide before you go what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. Okay. How far are you going to go off the rails? Are you going to go completely off the track? Right? You're going to go vary a little bit, or are you just going to go, you know what? The short term piece of cake, drink, Aunt Millie's food, that's short term. This is a long term goal, and this will benefit me, my family, my friends so much further than having one piece of cake. The cake will come back. Okay. Bring something that you can eat or drink. Okay. There are lots of mocktails. There are lots of like little flavor packets now. I use an electrolyte supplement called Ultima. They just came out with apple teeny, pina colada, and peach seltzer. They actually are really, really good. And it's just basically electrolytes. And the sweetener is stevia. So there's not really any calories into it, and there's nothing artificial about it. Okay. Put a seltzer thing in a koozie so nobody can see it, right? Sometimes when you're at those social events, just the fact of having a glass in your hand, right, and drinking it is enough. One, people won't ask you why are you not drinking. Again, I'd tell them beforehand. Two, it makes you feel like you're participating. If you're going to a bar and you can't bring your own stuff, get a fancy glass, put seltzer water in it, soda water, and a lime. Okay. So there are lots of things that you can do, especially if you know you're going to a party where there's not going to be a lot of choices for you. Bring stuff, right? Hey, I'm going to make a salad. Okay. Or I'm going to bring a veggie tray, stuff that you can eat. Okay. The other thing that you need to do is when you go to these parties and things like that, get far away from the food table. Habits are triggered by a cue. Now, the cue can be sight, smell, one of your senses. Okay. So if you see the cake, boom, the habit might trigger off of, ooh, cake. I like cake. It's got sugar in it, makes me feel good. Again, stay far away from that stuff. Try to take some of that temptation out of wherever you're going. Okay. So, what are you going to do when chaos happens? Because life happens. So, one thing that we teach our clients in my program, and again, it's about habits and routines. Okay. So, one of the first habits, besides proper nutrition, hydration, is stop, challenge, choose. Okay. And this was created by one of the co-founders of the program called Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson. Okay. It's actually a habit that I used when I was teaching with kids, because what the habit is doing is when something challenging comes up, you stop. And actually, this is the hardest part of the habit, because when you're at a party and things like that, people, hey, have this beer, have this drink, have this piece of cake, have this, right? You have to stop, and you have to go, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop. I'm going to be present with myself, try to take as much emotion out of the situation that I can. Because again, your willpower is an emotion. It's probably depleted. My willpower's not working. Yep. It's not going to work. Okay. So you stop and you challenge yourself. Okay. So let's go back to our why. Hey, this is my long-term goal. Is the piece of cake worth it? Is it worth sidetracking from me from my long-term goal? Again, you have to make that choice. Sometimes you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to have a little slice of cake. Okay. Or I'm going to have that adult beverage, or I'm going to have whatever Aunt Millie cooked. Okay. Make it small so that you don't feel as guilty and go, you know what? I'll have a little piece of cake. Okay. Then you choose, you make your choice, and you will actually feel better about the choice because you made it. And you can't read the bottom of the slide. That's what it says, right? You've decided, right? You haven't let the emotions control you. You've tried to take control of those. And like I said before, I use this all the time in my classroom when kids were fighting. Hey, what are you fighting about? Right? Oh, well, he just called me this. Okay, let's stop and think about this. If I just say something else back to them, is that going to solve the problem? And I would actually have this discussion with kids, because again, they'd start thinking about it and go, no, because if I yell at him, he's just going to yell at me and I'm going to yell back at him, then get into a shoving match, right? And then we both get in trouble. And so when you can start realizing that and start taking control of your emotions, again, weight management and weight loss and health for most people is tied to some kind of emotion. Okay. So you need to figure out what that emotion is for you. Okay. And learn when it's going to trigger, and then learn how to control it the best you can. Okay. For me, it's boredom. When I'm sitting in front of the TV, or I'm just sitting doing really, reading, doing anything, I just all of a sudden just want to eat. It's just a habit, and it's been ingrained for a long period of time. But I realize that now. So when that habit, right, I get up and I start moving around and doing something so I'm not bored. Okay. That's what you need to do. You need to try to take the chaos out of it and the emotions out of it. So you got this. The last thing that I would tell you to do is that if you've started a weight loss journey, or if that goal is important for you, or if you're like me and you're trying to maintain your weight, right, that you worked hard to lose, I want you to think about your identity. Who do you identify as, right? Do you still identify as that fat person, that person that people are always looking at, or that person that can't play with their grandkids, right? There's lots of different reasons. Okay. Change your mindset. Your brain doesn't really know right from wrong. It knows the thoughts that you put in, and the thoughts lead to an emotion. Okay. And then, as we discussed, the emotion leads to choice. Okay. And your brain uses lots of things. So you'll start telling yourself stories that really aren't true. But in the end, you're going to get this. It's not, it's hard, but it's not hard. It's something that you can build slowly, create good habits, and create good routines over a long period of time while you're going on your weight loss journey, that they're instilled and you really don't have to think about them. So that once you get to your goal weight, those are your habits. Yes, life's going to happen and you're going to kind of go off rails sometimes. That's normal. That there's nothing you can avoid. As far as I know, weekends come every fifth day. Okay. Summers come every year. Holidays every year. Weddings, birthdays, yeah, they happen. So you need to understand and how to plan. And again, it all goes back to your why, your motivation. Your why has to be strong enough to get you through some of the obstacles that are going to happen to you. And with a habit, if you don't continually, especially when you're starting off, if you don't continually do that habit day after day after day, you're going to revert back to the old habits. So one of the struggles that most people have when they start doing weight loss is that they start installing habits Monday through Friday. Saturday comes. Ooh, yeah, Doug, I cheated a little bit. Well, what do you mean you cheated? You didn't cheat. You made a choice. Okay. It's not cheating. You made a choice to do something that you knew was not going to be good for you. Okay. Again, when you're first starting off, I wouldn't cheat. I wouldn't ish it. I wouldn't, right? And if you, for a while, I was fortunate. I did my health program during COVID. So I didn't have a lot of distractions going on. So I had a good solid foundation when social events and stuff started coming back up. But you might want to take those out for a little bit. Again, be honest and upfront with your family and friends and tell them why you're doing it. If they really are family and friends, they're going to support you, right? They're going to encourage you because, as I said before, if you put yourself low on the priority ladder, right, you're not going to be the best version of yourself or anybody else. You're not going to be the best spouse. You're not going to be the best father, mother, right? You're not going to be the best friend because you're not fully there, right? You don't feel confident. You don't have the energy. Again, there's a whole bunch of things that getting to a healthy weight and maintaining it will actually snowball and make your life so much better and make you a better person going forward. All right, guys, if you have any questions, you can email me at info@coachdougfreeman.com, or I'll send out an email once this recording gets done with the recording and a link to my YouTube channel. And also the Stop Challenge Choose, there's a free ebook that I'll send to you as well, so that you can read a little more in depth of how to practice it and how to start into that habit. All right, guys, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. You guys all have a great